Today we are at Ford campus, very large and beautiful campus with our esteemed guest, Mr. Nambivengadam, General Manager, Cyber Advisory and Consulting Services, Mr. Praveen Sasidharan, Partner, Cyber Risk Services and Auto Cyber Leader. And it's really great to be back in office. We are here to discuss about the Auto Cyber Survey. The survey indicates most of the CISOs and CIOs think that security and privacy is the top driver for emerging technology. And what do you think about this trend, Nambi? Like, do you see this trend in India and elsewhere, especially in the auto sector or elsewhere?
No, thanks. Great question, Vivek, and thanks for the details on the survey. But me being from the auto industry, like, let me take an example of connected cars. So for us, connected cars is nothing but a device that is an IoT device, right? It can connect with other devices in the network. So look at it, right? It's a vehicle, but I'm talking to you about the Internet of Things and how it is in the network, and it can talk to other devices in the network. And security is there at every inch of it, right? You should have right level of authentication, right level of the authorization for all the devices that are in the network, right? So it's very important that the right devices communicate with the right vehicle. Right from there, and even in the autonomous world, right, there are so many sensors, there are so many codes, lines of codes that we have, right? So software security is another important piece that we are living in, right? So this is just an example of the auto industry. But overall in the technology industry, we're all heavily dependent on APIs, right? And APIs is one of the most important things. Today we cannot live without APIs in the technology industry for any programming, right? So and the security of APIs is really the key, right? If something is modified there, something is tampered, so this has to be tamper resistant, right? So that's the key, Vivek.
Thank you, Nambi. And Praveen, how do you see this trend, especially in India, and what is your view?
It's really great to be back in office, and a pleasure meeting you, Nambi. So I think the world itself has changed. Now the computation is moving more into the edge side of things. As we see it for a manufacturing organization, and especially in auto, there are four main pillars that we look into. One is, of course, the IT, which was the core earlier. Now the core has shifted more to the edge, whether it is the car, whether it is the plant, whether it is the supply chain integrations. So with IT, these are the four pillars now which is come into picture. Now security and privacy in each of these aspects has become very important. No longer it is just IT. It is very important to protect the security of the edge computing, whether it is a car or like Nambi said, and it is more of like a device, an IoT device, which is being there. And it is getting smarter and smarter. A lot of technologies are going inside it. Security which enables the safety and reliability of the people who is using it, around it. So securing and protecting the information of the users from a privacy perspective has become very key to it.
You spoke as OT as one of the pillar, and in this particular survey, there is a large focus in industrial control systems, OT especially. And what do you think are the key considerations which, especially in the auto sector, that we need to consider in this transition?
See, in Industry 4.0, if you take, and it is about integrating and bringing the different players into the ecosystem itself. So whether it is your manufacturing organizations, your R&D, comes into picture, your digitalization on the factory and the floors, and also more importantly, the ecosystem partner, who gets integrated into your system to create an end-to-end, seamless kind of a setup that you can have. All these people have a critical part to play. Now, with all these technologies, disparate systems coming into picture, and even the production line getting automized and becoming more and more connected, the need for security has only increased. Yep. So Nambi, your thoughts on that, since you have been looking into some of these.
Great insights, Praveen. I completely agree with you, right? No second thoughts on what you said. And what we are facing, right, and what the other industries are also facing, the biggest challenge with respect to the OT as such is the device discovery, right? The device discovery is something that we need to be very precise about. If we do not know what are the assets that are actually connected to our network, right, it's very difficult to protect. And every IoT device that's in our network or any network has to be actually inventoried, and we have to be very precise about their information. And that's one of the key challenges that I see personally in this whole OT security, right? And then comes the monitoring piece of the whole the network and the device. So once you have all these checks and balances sorted out, and most important is the governance of it, right? And creating awareness. See, this is new, right, for everybody in the industry. So we've got to create the right set of awareness. Hey, these devices are not like our regular devices, right? These are IoT devices and OT security. That's going to be critical. Sometimes it can affect the bottom line. It's as simple as that, right?
From an experience standpoint, there is a lot of thought gone into this survey paper and explaining how privacy plays a key role. And what is your take on this, and how do you see privacy playing a major role, privacy by design?
Privacy by design as a concept, I think I'm sure all of us are aware that driven by regulations, right? There are so many privacy regulations starting with GDPR, right? Now, in fact, every country is now trying to bring one, right? India is having our own data protection acts at the draft, right? Every country is trying to bring one, and it's getting, the regulatory environment is becoming more complex, right? But as technology people, as cybersecurity people, I think looking at a user lens, right? If I'm a user, if I'm using something, right, my privacy is really, really important. People should be very transparent to me how the data is going to be used. What is the data at rest, right? What is the data in transit? And more importantly, data in use today. There's something called as confidential computing, right? That's coming up in a big way today.
What is your view on this, Praveen? So,
some of these components was not part of the vehicle to begin with, right? So vehicle was more mechanical in nature, and now it is becoming more autonomous and more connected in nature. So what is happening is these devices, which was not generating bits and bytes, now is generating bits and bytes. All these new concepts now have to be re-engineered. The vehicle itself has to be re-engineered to accommodate some of these things. So the point is, when you're re-engineering all these things, it is good to have the best practices adapted to it. The second part, why it is more important, is these vehicle devices and the components into it, we are talking about a lifespan of 15 years at least, right? At least 5 to 15 years. So this is not like an IT system where you can change it. You don't like it, you can't change it. So all this has to be pre-configured, pre-thought about before all these are implemented.
it's a pleasure meeting you, Nambi, and also Praveen. Thank you very much. Thank you for being part of the good company.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you. Thanks both.
Thank
Thanks
you.
both of you.